Hi everyone, my name is Kurt Amon and I am a science teacher at Nitschmann Middle School, and one of my favorite topics to teach about is combustion. It's a chemical reaction with an explosion in it. Now a lot of you are probably watching this probably during a snow day, something like that. I want to talk about what happens in your car when you try to drive through the snow or just toward any typical day. So all of you are going to be turning 16 at one point in your lives, and you are going to want to drive a car. And when you make that decision as to what car you're going to drive, you're going to want to pick between like a 4-cylinder or a 6-cylinder. This right here is the cylinder that we're talking about. It's actually a cut-in-half cylinder that we have right here. You see, what happens is when you start the car, a spark comes from the top and it goes into the chamber. When you press the gas in the car, the gas is filtered. It's actually sent right into this chamber and the spark hits the gas. The gas then catches fire and there's an explosion that takes place into your engine. The harder you press the gas pedal, the more fierce the explosion, and the more explosions occur in a given amount of time. So what happens is when the explosion takes place in the cylinder, it forces this object called a piston to move downward, right? And then it shoots back up. Then it explodes again, shoots back down, goes back up, explodes again, shoots back down. Now, I'm going to show you the back side of this, and I'm going to make it explode one explosion after another. When I move the piston up and down, I want you to take a look at this object right here. So, as you can see, when I move this piston up and down, it actually causes the wheel to turn. And you can see the wheel turning right now. As the piston goes up and down inside of the cylinder, it causes that to move. That's reminiscent to your actual tires moving. The harder you press the pedal, the faster the tires move. Now, to show you what goes into that reaction, you have what's known as a fuel source, which in our case, we have what's called ethyl alcohol. We're going to pretend that this fuel source has, say, a chemical structure of CH4, okay? Now, in order for combustion to happen, you take a fuel source and you combine it with oxygen. And if you look around for oxygen to mix with this fuel, I'll tell you what, it's here. If it wasn't here, we wouldn't be alive right now. So the oxygen is definitely in the air. So we're going to combine oxygen with this fuel source to show you what kind of explosion takes place inside of this cylinder. Okay, so I have my fuel source, I have the cylinder, and now we're going to see the explosion that takes place in the cylinder. So I'm going to pour a little bit of fuel into the cylinder. And guys, when the fuel enters the cylinder in the car, a lot of the time it enters the car in a form of vapor. So what I'm going to do to try to increase the rate of evaporation is spread out the fuel. It kind of reminds you of like a puddle. If you spread out a puddle, it'll evaporate faster. So I'm going to spread out our fuel, and I'm going to place it in here. Now, please understand, I place it into this chair because, guys, it's an explosion. If I didn't have it in this chair, it could go somewhere else and possibly harm someone. So when I do it in class, I tend to have it locked into a chair. And yes, I do sometimes let a student light the match. So in any typical car, you have a spark plug that sends a spark to ignite the fuel. In our case, we're just going to use a match because I really don't feel like sending sparks in there and just hoping for the best. So I'm going to light this match now, like so. Okay. And I'm going to place it into our cylinder. Now watch closely, Lee. That right there was the explosion that takes place in your car. As you can see, there's a lot of stuff given off here. Everything that's given off in this reaction is actually what comes out of the tailpipe of your vehicle. So everyone, I hope that you enjoyed the combustion reaction. It's what takes place in your vehicles. My name's Kurt Amon, and I am a teacher here at Nitschmann Middle School.